Strip everything down to image, word, idea. Without narrative, it means nothing. This is MJ. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an analyzer. And I am welcoming you to my fully operational Star Wars analysis. This is fully operational episode 59. I'm talking about Book of Boba Fett Chapter 3. And I want to remind you that my whole angle that I'm coming at this from is that story is everything, and that it's really the narrative that matters. So while there's fights, while there's action, while there's music, while there's all these different things, I really care about how they tell the story. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. My quote that I'm using for the title of this episode is, "Now I am insulted." And that was Boba talking to, the droid. Yeah, saying something. So you're talking about how he, is disrespected because he's too weak. I think that's what the context was. It's something around there. It's about that scene. Anyway, so, I want to know, though, well, I picked that quote. Well, I'll explain why at the end, because that's what I do. But anyway, I want to know, though, do you think Boba Fett is building a family for himself? And, is that what the show is about? And if that's the case, do you like that or do you not like that? Because I think that's kind of weird. In fact, I think that's very weird, and I don't understand why that would be the object of the show. I just don't understand. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and move on to giving the credits. So this episode is called, it's Chapter 3, The Streets of Mos Espa. The director is Robert Rodriguez. The writer is Jon Favreau. The composer is Joseph Shirley. So all the music throughout the show, I believe, is done by him. But the theme specifically of Boba Fett, which I would think is the one with the chanting in it and stuff, is Ludwig Göransson. That's his name. There we go. I got it written down now, so it's in the show notes too. And this was originally released January 12th, 2022. So this is a full spoiler review, so prepare yourself for that. But I've got kind of like two waves of topics I want to talk about. First is kind of sillier stuff or stuff I really didn't like, and then the second is stuff I can enjoy talking about more. So Lil Boba. We've seen the same clip of Lil Boba, like young Daniel Logan, which I don't know if that's like from a deleted scene, or if they de-aged him, or they made a digital puppet of him, or got a lookalike, or what they did, deep-faked him or something like that, like with Luke. But I'm sure they didn't get current Daniel Logan to go in there and do it. Anyway, I don't know why we're seeing this again. It doesn't make sense. We're seeing another one of his visions of him being on Kamino, and I think it happens right after him saying that he was, from a water world, and I don't know. It just I don't get it. And again, they're reusing the clip, so it's like, are they padding the episode? The runtime was like a 35 minutes again, just like the first episode. So like, are they running it are they padding it for runtime? I'm wondering if that's what's going on. It just seems so strange to me. Anyway, moving on. The Candy Crushers. That's what I'm calling the gang of toughs. The king of like cybernetic people that are a big part of the show. I guess they're Boba's kids or whatever. I don't get them. I don't like them. Their designs are unappealing. It feels too young and hip and modern. I don't think Conja Club is the name of the people, but even from TFA, I don't like the Scottish guy who shows up and is like, "Chill it to Conja Club." That dude, I don't like him and his gang either, for the most part. But they're better than these guys. These guys look like a bunch of jokers, and I don't mean like, the Joker from Batman. I mean, they look like a bunch of, fools. So like, yeah, I'm not into this like cyborg street gang. And from a story perspective, well, first of all, why do I raise that if I'm all about the narrative? Well, because they took me out of the narrative. I thought, who the heck are these guys? And what are they doing? And what's the point of having them in this show? I've never seen anybody like this on Tatooine before. And not that I've seen all of Tatooine, but they don't seem to fit the bill, which is okay. Boba Fett feels at home on Tatooine. The Bomar Monk spider robot things do. So much of Tatooine just feels good. That's because you saw it in the movies and you're just looking at this with nostalgia. Yes and no. I liked Kylo Ren's design immediately. I mean, it felt like a, Vader ripoff, but it also kind of feels like a sand person. It feels like one of the early designs that Ralph McQuarrie did of Vader, where he looked more like a Bedouin type guy. And maybe even could have felt like reminiscent of a Tusken Raider in being, Wraith-like and stuff. But anyway, just these guys do not fit for me. And, I'm going to bring them back in later, but just the look of them I didn't like, and I didn't get, there was a further thing. I'll share this about them. It didn't make sense to me that Boba instantly believed them about the water, why they were stealing it, how much it costs. It also doesn't make sense from a narrative perspective that they have had the money to get, all these cybernetic things, and then they don't have money for water, which is like super important for you to live. And the thing about there being no jobs, like, the show is showing us, or it's telling us that, but it's not showing us that. And even the chance or the opportunity where the girl speaks up and says to Boba, like, take a look around. There's nothing for us to do. There's no jobs. It's like, he didn't even look around. Like he didn't literally physically look around. And I don't know if that was a, metaphorical or just a, expression of like, really take stock of our surroundings and look and see, the economy of Tatooine is terrible. There is no place for us to work. And, despite the fact that you're the daimyo, we're throwing it in your face because you're not serving it. He just got there, guys. How are you going to blame him for the economy that, Bib Fortuna had set in place? Anyway, it just doesn't make sense to me. And again, I don't like people. I'm into decentralized, small scale, local type stuff. That's how I prefer things to be run and arranged, and that's what's going on here. But like, people have to take ownership of the situation that they're in and make things happen for themselves, or at least try to, instead of just complaining about things, which is what it feels like these people are doing. I mean, they're stealing water, so they're doing something, they're hustling, but it's not the good kind. Anyway, moving on. I will talk about them again, though, and I don't know who any of their names. So they're the Candy Crushers. Anyway, so Black Krrsantan, seeing him in there was kind of fun, kind of cool. I met him in the comics back after the Marvel number 1 of Star Wars happened. Was he in the Dr. Aphra book? I don't know. He was in the Vader book as part of Dr. Aphra's team to do some heist, which was pretty dope. Cool story. I liked him okay. It's cool to see him in person. He looks different from Chewbacca, and I like that. I mean, he looks and feels different from Chewbacca. Totally different attitude. Very interesting. Very neat just to have a little more Wookiee. And like the Wookiee masses on Kashyyyk in Revenge of the Sith. Cool to see. But you didn't get to spend that much time with them. Whereas Black Krrsantan, you get a decent amount with them. So that was pretty cool. Although these Candy Crushers were this great group of people that Boba adopted into his network, into his family, whatever, and they just let Black Krrsantan in. So did the Gamorreans, so did Fennec Shan. Like, I don't understand what happened that this guy got in there. But anyway, maybe that's something to talk about later. I don't know. Maybe on a different day. Going into more interesting like story implications overall, the whole thing with the mayor and the Majordomo. The mayor was supposedly with the Pykes, and like he's being used by them, and he was kind of being used by. I mean, they almost make it sound like he's a victim. He has no power, is what they say. That he has no power, and that he's just kind of going along and being blown by the wind. I don't know that that's true, and I don't know why he wouldn't have flouted that a little bit more, other than to like keep a mystery going for us, the viewers, and to have us be wondering what exactly is going on and who's really trying to kill Boba Fett and things like that. But I don't know. I didn't really like it. Didn't really do it for me, if you know what I'm saying. And I don't know. I do like how wormy his Majordomo is, and how he's like the consummate politician. He's just lying and deceiving and throwing smoke screens up, and then he's going out the back door, speeding off in his in his speeder to get away. That was a lot of fun. He's a real creep, so I like that. He's a good hateable villain. The twins coming in, they kind of foreshadowed that something's going on, and that the territory is actually belonging to the Pykes now, and they're having to give up their claim to it. I thought that was interesting. I thought it was kind of cheesy that they gave him a Rancor, but I don't know. It's kind of cool too. It's almost like something's happened, and you wonder, should you really be doing this? Is this just for nostalgia? And just because this is a touchstone that people have, and it works a little bit, but if you overuse it, that's not good. And I honestly do think that's what's happening here in this episode. I think it's like chock full of references, and it's like too many things are going on, visual gags or little things where you see, different characters or, old characters from the past or people who fill the same archetypes or from the same species or whatever. And it's a little too much. Like it's too much too soon. It's being laid on too thick. And I really do think there's a flaw of how nostalgia is being laid on here, like, with the Rancor and everything. So that was disappointing. The Pykes being like the controlling interest and being the big bad for Boba to fight, I guess is okay. I don't have a problem with it. They've become more and more prominent, more and more powerful. I was expecting something like Black Sun. If they're gone, then I guess Red Dawn. Isn't that what they're called? Red Dawn, Red Eclipse, whatever the network Maul was running that Kira took over for. They were the villain group in Solo. Crimson Dawn. That's what it's called. Not Red Dawn. It's the same thing. Red is crimson. Anyway, so I'm okay with the Pykes. They... Like in the flashback, when Boba goes to negotiate on behalf of the Sand People, and it turns out that these Nikto Raiders or whatever are like their competitor, or hold on, the Pykes are paying those Nikto guys for the passage through the sands, and then Boba is saying no, it's the Sand People's territory, take it up with them instead. And then he goes back and he wants to kill or drive off the Nikto guys with the Sand People, and he can't because they're all dead. At first I thought, oh, so it was the Nikto guys, they went ahead and did this. But by the end of the episode, I almost wonder if the Pykes are more conniving, and for some reason they destroyed the Sand People because they would rather work with gangsters than with, like, I don't know, religious zealots or people who are tied to their land because it's their ancestral homeland or whatever. Because I can see an organization or a government doing something like that, because it is easier to manipulate and utilize and use for your own benefit people who you force to be in a certain place versus the indigenous population. Because, well, when people are rooted to their land, they fight for it in a more serious way, and they act differently than if it's just something that they're poaching on or manipulating or using, or if it's something that they're gaining from, like the Nikto gang would have been. So the implication feels like it was the Pykes who did it, but there's the mark of the Nikto gang there on one of the tents or whatever. But why wouldn't they have done that? The stormtroopers try to make it look like the Sand People attacked the Jawa sandcrawler, right, in A New Hope. So like, it's not like it's an obvious tactic to frame up somebody else for something in order to get them in trouble, or to throw the heat off of yourself. So that makes sense to me. So I don't know, is that really good? Am I happy about what's going on with the Pykes? I'm really not sure. It's kind of a lot to take in, and I don't quite know how to take them. I also don't like their look in the live action. It's not very good. So, yeah, and that kind of takes me out of it, because I think these guys look so much better in the Clone Wars. They look so much better. They look so much more alien. Their physiology was different. And having such a difference between the animation or the comic version of a character and their live action version, it's not great. It definitely doesn't help sell the story. It definitely doesn't help make all of Star Wars a seamless, multimedia experience. But, some people are complainers. I don't like complaining. So, anyway, I'm going to move on. The Rancor. Oh, so I loved the reference from Dave Wolverton's, I think this is from Wolverton's The Courtship of Princess Leia, that the witches of Dathomir would ride them, and they had these relationships. Not that kind of relationship, guys. Come on. They had, like, strong, rider and mount, person and pet type relationships with the Rancors. I thought that was super cool. I love The Courtship of Princess Leia. It's one of my favorite Star Wars books. Unfortunately, they only have an abridged audio version of it, so I read it once in high school and I haven't read it since then. But at the time, I loved it. I thought it was awesome. Maybe we should read it again. Anyway, so that was pretty cool. And I know I was down talking nostalgia and things like that, but like that's a deep cut reference. That's pretty cool. And it just adds a lot to the lore. And I thought that was pretty cool. But and then like the thing about Boba wanting to write it, that's like a fun thing. And him saying he's written things 10 times bigger than the Rancor. Like, what are those things? And when did you ride them? And can we please see those stories too? That kind of stuff, is texturing his character, and it's giving a lot more personality, and it's seeding some interest into him. And I really thought that was cool. So that was fun. Moving on. So the last, or next section I'm calling it Family, Lost, Found, Lost Again, and Built. So, Jango died at the hands of Mace Windu, or the blade of Mace Windu. So Boba Fett lost his father. Then he, formed a gang with, not Asajj Ventress, with, the other white lady. I don't remember her name now, but she was one bad lady, and she was with Cad Bane as well. So anyway, the two of them formed formed an alliance, and Boba kind of was running a gang when he was younger. So then he, had a family there that he found because of the connections to his dad, and then somehow he fell out with all of them. We don't know exactly what happened. At least I don't. Maybe it's in the Bounty Hunter Wars or whatever that were going on in the Star Wars comics, the Marvel comics. I don't know. But he was all alone again. And then now it's funny, they refer to the crime syndicate or whatever as a family. I keep wanting to call him McMillan. Fennec Shand tells him, you're one of the families now. You should enjoy the benefits of that and whatever, which was kind of interesting. I don't know why the table was so overstuffed with the food if it was just the two of them eating, though. Bring the Gamorreans in or something. Boba's not going to stand on ceremony, and he's going to allow, little weird things like that to happen. So, I mean, what's the big deal? Anyway, but, he's one of these crime families now, and he's building up a family. But I almost wonder, is he building a personal family for himself? Because he took in the Candy Crushers, he saved the Gamorreans, he saved Shand, and she's, loyal to him now. And, he slowly seems to be coalescing people around him. And at first it felt cool, it's like a party. He's, it's like in a video game. Or he's assembling a fire team or whatever. He needs to staff his palace and whatnot. But, now with the Candy Crushers, it feels a little bit more like he's trying to form a family. And I don't know how I feel about that. I don't think I like it. I don't like him wanting a family, and not because I want him to be this hard-edged guy, but another family he had lost again was the Tusken family, because they all got slaughtered, they all got massacred, and I just don't I like that. I like that he had that loss, and I would like it if he had family. He could, end up finding Omega or something like that. That would be cool. That'd be interesting. But this whole thing with him, trying to build up this family out of this, motley bunch of people he's finding on Tatooine just feels, I don't know, it just feels off. It feels empty. It feels wrong. It doesn't feel like it should be the premise of the show, and it feels like that is what the show's about. And I'm not sure that I like it very much. So, finishing up with Boba's quote of, "Now I am being insulted," which is, the title for the review, I was never a Boba Fett super fan. I like the idea of Boba Fett. I like Mandalorian armor. I love my boy Canderous from KOTOR. And, there's good Mando stuff. But, I always just thought Boba Fett was, interesting, and I never got into this whole, who is Boba Fett and who's the man behind the man. That didn't matter to me. It's this guy's got a dope armor. He's a bounty hunter. That's pretty cool. I'd like to see him catch bounties, hunt bounties, whatever. And, just fun, cool stuff around this guy. But I don't know. I feel like the direction they're going with him is kind of weird, and I'm not going to say they're insulting his legacy or anything stupid like that. But there is something I don't like about what's going on with Boba Fett and how he's being written. Tamara Morrison, I love what he's doing. I think he's doing a great job. I like the range between the desperate, wild, scarred Boba, and then the more confident, calm, almost subdued, I don't know, Boss Boba. As Boss Boba, he's in a very different state of mind. He retains his competency throughout, but the Boss Boba, he just seems so much wiser and he's almost more capable. Even though, as I don't know, as I'm gonna say Tusken Boba, he has such a high level of competency, and he's doing so much with so little that's impressive. But again, just something about Boss Boba seems really cool and put together, and I really like what he's bringing to the table. But he's also got this softness and this gentleness, this almost fatherly attitude that I don't understand where it's coming from. And again, going back again, I might say this for the next 3 episodes, because I think this is just 6 episodes long. I don't understand why they're telling the story with flashbacks. I think they should have started in the past, crawling out of the Sarlacc pit, and then going forward through history. I'm Like, all the things that are happening in the present are only irritating or frustrating me. I kind of like the Tusken Boba segments better than what's going on in the present, because I don't know, like, something's missing. Like, it just feels off. It feels wrong. It feels like he's become something else. He's become someone else. And I don't think it should feel that way. I want there to be a consistency and a cohesion to the arc of his character, and the way they're having it split up, it's either he has no arc or he has two arcs that are difficult to track and trace, and I don't like it. It frustrates me. I don't get why they're choosing to do it this way. So anyway, I don't like it. Just to be clear, I've really enjoyed episode 1 and 2, or chapter 1 and 2. Chapter 3, they're kind of losing me here. So anyway, that might be all I wanted to say. And again, I'm going to bring it back to the fact that, for me, the most important thing is story. Story is everything. And I feel like the story of Boba Fett is being disserviced here. And I don't understand why, especially because it seemed like it was off to such a good start with the first 2 chapters, and this one just falls flat, like I said. And anyway, I don't know. I'm holding out hope. I'm being optimistic that it will be good. But, I can see where, it might not be good, or I can see the problems, and I'm not going to lie to myself and deceive myself and say that it's perfect and wonderful, because it's pretty good, and I like it for the most part, but just, there are flaws. So anyway, I'd love to hear what you think about Book of Boba Fett Chapter 3. What do you think about the show overall, how you're enjoying the story, and, like I talked about, or like my big question at top was, do you think Boba's like trying to build himself a family, and do you think that's the story of this show? And if so, what do you think about that? And I guess, and if not, why not? What's your support against it, or for that idea? Anyway, that's it pretty much. So I am going to encourage you to check out mjmunoz.com. For all the stuff I have going on there. I have other analysis, I have writing, I have art that I'll be posting up there. You should be able to go to the top of the page and find the author, artist, and analyzer menus for you to easily access everything that I have going there. And I'm going to go ahead and encourage you to check that out, to subscribe to the RSS for the audio-only version, or to subscribe to my Odyssey channel, or Less Good, the YouTube channel, to keep current with all my stuff. And I also have a TikTok where I'm generally carrying out all my stuff that you'll see on mjmunoz.com. There's like little bonus things. Like I've got like a gag. Well, I have 2 gags that I want to put up there that are going to need to have visual elements. They're going to be short, like 30 seconds or something like that. One referencing KOTOR, and one I'm kind of joking about how fat the Gamorreans are. But like I feel like that's the best platform to put those. It doesn't make sense to try to put them here and now. So go check those out. Go look for those things over on my TikTok. It's MJAAA, I think is what it is, or it's MJ Munoz AAA, something like that. But it's definitely linked in the show notes for this. And if you're looking on the video version, go to the full show notes to find it over on mjmunoz.com. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I leave you with peace and blessings. This is MJ signing out, and I'm going to remind you once again, story is everything. That's what I'm here for, and that's what I want to talk about. But you can bring up cool, fun stuff too. Like I had a comment from somebody talking about how they really would have liked to see Black Krrsantan and Boba Fett go toe-to-toe with Boba in his armor, which I agree, that would have been really dope to see. But it was pretty cool that he fought him, like, naked or in his underwear or whatever, and he didn't do well, but Black Krrsantan had freaking electronic knuckle dusters. He doesn't need those. He doesn't need zapping knuckle dusters. He's a freaking Wookiee. Anyway, so I enjoy that overkill from villains and bounty hunters and stuff. So anyway, but I'm really getting out of here. So until next time, folks, take care.